Track and Field was released in the arcade in 1983 and ported to several consoles, including the Atari 2600, which is the version I'll be covering here. I recently went over Decathlon, and for the record, I don't want to make this entirely into a comparison video, but it is worth comparing some of the differences between these two games so you can determine which one is best for you, especially since both games came out around the same time. They're basically bastard cousins. The games are very similar in that you run through a series of track and field events, and a lot of it consists of jerking your joystick, for lack of a better word, back and forth from left to right as fast as you can to run. And also, for some of the throwing events, you can adjust the angle in which you're throwing the object. But there are a few differences too, the main one being rather than running through all of the events in a gauntlet and seeing what your best time is for all the events, instead you have to qualify for the next event by reaching a certain parameter depending on the event. If you don't qualify, you don't even get to play these other events and it's game over. So it's set up more in the traditional video game format of advancing level to level, as opposed to a normal sports game, which does give you something to compete against if you're playing single player. There are 6 events: the dash, long jump, javelin, hurdles, hammer throw, and high jump. It doesn't have nearly as many events as Decathlon, but a lot of those events were kind of similar to each other, so it's not that big of a loss. Plus the dash is only in the 110 meter variety as opposed to the 400 and 1500 meter slogs, which are a better endurance test, that's for sure. But it's also very repetitive. You don't have that in this game. There's also 3 difficulty settings to give you some customization options, and there was a special controller released specifically for this game, but I've never used it, so I don't know how effective it is. Another thing you can do in track and field is play against another human, which you can do in Decathlon, but you have to alternate. In track and field, you can have 2 players racing simultaneously, which is a better real-time race than switching off and having a time to beat. Although in certain events, alternating is still the only way to go just because that's how it operates. But as far as gameplay goes, it's just as solid and responsive as Decathlon. The only thing that really separates the two is which kind of a game do you want to play. If you want a marathon of events, including a legit fucking marathon, where you simply try to get the best time or distance possible in each one, then Decathlon is the game for you. But if you want a more compact, streamlined game where you have to hit certain goals to even compete in all the events, then go with track and field.